Taneytown Community Comprehensive Plan Workshop. Please come to order. Will everyone stand for the pledge to the flag, please? And Squires, you want to lead off?
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Members that are present here this evening, including the guests, and Mr. Brown is not here this evening. Everyone should have received the minutes of August the 20th, 2024. Is there any corrections or additions to those minutes? Hearing none, I'll
Well, are we gonna go through, I guess I just had some questions as to
I'm not going to go through unless you have a specific question about
Well,
the
like-
minutes.
okay, I do have a specific question. It says, for question number 8, but I'm not sure if it's really question number 8 anymore. And for, so,
Question number 8.
so,
7. I don't have question 8.
so if you go down the community survey and you come down there, it says remove taxes option. Okay, I didn't see whether we did that. And I see for question number 8, which I think might be number 10, and the next one is for question number 8, which I think might be 16.
Okay.
I mean,
Emily, did you follow him?
I think so. So the remove taxes option from question 8 is the new question 10. That's correct. The next, for question 8, separate fire and police into police services and fire/EMS services is also question 10.
Question 10, okay, yep.
Yes. And then adding the definition for open space and natural resource protection is question 10 as well.
And
then the last one you had, was that?
okay, and it just says we discussed them, so that's fine, because I didn't see the
Right.
changes necessarily
And then
happened.
on the
Oh, right,
next
thanks.
line, it should be question 12.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other corrections or additions?
No, I'm good.
All right, now I'm still looking for a motion to accept with the corrections.
Make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion made by Garner, second by Tillman. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Carried. Thank you. Minutes. Okay, we're starting out with,
Yeah, so good evening. It's good to see everybody in person. And so Emily and I came down earlier this afternoon and did some reconnaissance within the city limits and got to see some of the things that you were talking about, particularly with regards to the traffic. So I understand that. But so it's, yeah, that was pretty eye-opening, honestly, with regards to, how the traffic backs up here on the main street. And I just don't know where everybody's coming from or where they're going. That was good to see that firsthand. We went through some of the subdivisions, some of the newer subdivisions, the Del Webb project out there on the outskirts there of town, and that is a lot more dense than I had anticipated going through there. And it just seems like it's not connected to town in any real way. I don't know. That was just kind of the impression we were talking about. Just not a real. I don't know how integral it is to the community. I don't know what the thoughts are there. What's the general impression in terms of is, that's obviously the largest population center in town.
so
And-
are you comparing that maybe to Carol Vista?
Yes,
Did you-
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Carol, yeah.
Carol Vista
Yep.
compared to?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. So is there a lot of interaction, or is there, integration of that community with what's going on in town, or what's the impression there?
So when Del Webb built that, proposed that originally, the first entrance you see as you come away from town, you see a guardhouse.
Yeah.
It was envisioned that it would probably be a closed community, gated and that type of thing. And then it just never really has gotten to that point, but there's one way, there's two ways in and out.
Yep.
And it's private by design, really. But there is a lot of interaction from those citizens throughout town.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that's good to hear, yeah.
Well, I would qualify that to say that there's a lot of interaction in the businesses in the lower end of town where all the commercial district is, but I don't think they come up into downtown at all.
Okay.
Okay.
But I
Well, how
think
would
they-
you compare that to Mead's Crossing then, the same people that did Mead's
Well, it's
Crossing?
exactly the same. I'm not
I
saying
mean-
there's any difference with any other development, but they're, they certainly shop at Kenny's and Food Lion and CVS, and, they get their cars fixed at the car dealers, and they, they go to the bowling alley and all of the things that are down there at that end of town for them to do. But, it goes back to the Main Street question, that there isn't a whole lot up here for them to do, and I think they probably would come up if there was more that was geared to them, or at least to their interests, if not directly to them as a population.
I agree with you. I think they would come up because I think they support the fire company pretty well.
Yeah.
So we see them supporting our events.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, and we pretty much toured the whole town, and, got to see, saw where the industries are, Flowserve and Evapco, right? Yep, so got to see what's going on there. And it was, yeah, just very, very helpful to see things firsthand, so. So our next event coming, we're going to be at the Harvest Festival on Saturday with a booth set up. We're going to have the surveys to hand out for anybody who wants to fill them out there. We'll also have, we had, the postcards are ready as well. So those will be handed out, and I think we have 500 postcards made. So to place, we'll leave some here.
Good.
And they can be placed throughout the town. So that's on its way. So that's our next big element is we're gonna, I think we talked about a 6 to 8 week time frame for the surveys to be available, to have that open.
So, can I ask, so in our packet was various forms of the flyer. Are you looking for a recommendation as to which one of these we'd like you to use, or?
So we're using all of them. We've done a large poster. We have those particular flyers to be placed up in businesses throughout town, key spots. And then we have the postcards that will be handed out.
Are they two-sided to intend to be put up on a window so that somebody can read the back and the front? Or is that just paper saving?
I think that the one on the back is the large size poster, a copy, so
Yeah.
that would be a big, like 24 by 36 board.
Okay.
Yep.
This one.
I think the opposite side.
Yeah, that's the
that's the
poster,
big
yeah,
one,
yep.
So that's the poster?
Yeah.
All right.
Chris, hang on a second. I had a question. Was that referring to phase one of this project of being 6 to 8 weeks? Or are we talking about phase one of being 3 months?
No. So the survey is part of phase one. So that's not all of phase one. So, yeah.
My other question was, the electronic board coming into town from Emmitsburg. Are we gonna be doing anything with that to put survey or anything on that? A lot of people go by there.
Yeah, I'll talk with Dan and see what we can.
I don't know
do.
what's involved, but just another way to get the word out.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I had a few questions on the survey, not saying you need to change anything, just, I took the survey myself, and so as I was taking it, there's some thoughts that came to mind. So like on number 9, you're really asking for two different, I'm sorry, it's for the, survey, not the interview, the survey. And so on number 9, you're kind of like asking for like two different things. So I hope people, they have to kind of have to read it carefully to make sure they answer two different questions in that one there. So that's one thing I kind of noticed. And then for number 10, when I went through and checked everything there and thought carefully about it, so the ones that I ended up with, my top 5 are employment, recreation, quality of education, police service, and fire and EMS. And then when I'm looking at that, I'm going, well, that's like top 5 needs that everybody's going to ask for all the time. So really what we want to know is the next ones. Because, yeah, of course, all those 5 things are what in my opinion, everybody's going to really pick those. So I think, but what I really want to know is, what kind of development do you want? Do you want one like the retirement valley, or do you want one like out here at Beach Crossing? That's kind of what I wanted to get out of here. So, but I didn't really recognize that till I was actually sitting down and actually taking the survey. So it'd be interesting how the response we get. And then on number 12, I guess I wasn't sure. So we have, if you check the boxes above, please clarify. So each area for rating is only pertaining to the ones in the column above you, right? So you're going to pick 2 on one side and 1 on the other. So you got to rate about 2 on one side and 1 on the other. But so it's just kind of a little bit.
I think I think that if you checked above meant just to that particular line directly above, not to the.
Is that what that?
Correct,
Oh,
right,
just
yeah,
for that one
yeah.
above? Oh, okay.
Yeah, just that one.
It's actually clearer.
I got you now.
Because I hit the QR code and it brought the survey up.
Yeah.
So you may know that I already took the survey online.
Oh, that makes perfect sense, looking at it that
Yeah.
way, but
When you
when
see
I
it,
looked at
when
it,
you
I
see it
didn't.
that way, it looks.
Yeah, I didn't see it that way, yeah. Okay.
Well, did you have any major issues with question 13 then, when it came to the housing?
Yeah, for 13, I guess my only question, that, like, we had agricultural uses in there, and I'm going, well, I don't know if we have any ag in Taneytown. So.
We do.
So that was my only question there. But no, everything else in question 13, I guess I was okay with. I mean, I was able to pick a category that I wanted.
No, question 13 did not translate particularly well on the online version. And actually, I didn't go back and look at it, but I didn't realize that there was the little drop down to pick one of the 3. And perhaps, and I don't know how you'd be able to do that on a mobile version. You know, I can see where you could have radio buttons on a computer screen, but you may not have space for radio buttons on a mobile version.
Right.
So if that set of drop downs was available at each of the boxes on question 13, I missed it.
Okay.
So some way to make that a little bit more obvious would definitely help.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely look into that.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, I mean, it's got to start somewhere, right? So we
Yeah,
start getting
yeah,
some
and,
information.
the whole plan's not based on the survey results, right? That's just one data point that's considered as we go through it, but it helps focus the discussion a little bit.
Definitely, I believe I've come to the conclusion that the interviews are going to provide the best information that we get, because there'll be some dialogue back and
Right.
forth to make sure you understand what
Absolutely,
people are saying.
right. And there'll be some consistency with how the questions are asked and that interaction, so.
It took me about 30, 40 minutes to go through it.
I didn't time myself.
I think it took me about 10 to do it
Yeah.
online, to do it on my phone.
Kept changing my mind, so I had,
But especially when you get to you got 5 choices, you know.
yeah, so.
It depends on how much consideration, but I come in with, looked at it with a certain, with my own preconceptions, and that kind of guided my choices anyway, so.
I tried to keep a positive opinion all the way through.
Well, I didn't say they were negative, I just said preconceptions.
All right.
Well, one thing that we noticed, the signs, what's the issue with the power lines?
You want it?
Or shouldn't I have asked?
If you want,
Jump in there because really the power lines is outside the city, be outside the city limits.
yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't affect Taneytown directly, but
okay.
there's a proposed transmission line that's going to cross Frederick and Carroll counties. And obviously, the communities at large are very upset about it because it's intended, or some of the proposed routes cross preserved farms and things like that. And they kind of started the process by saying, well, we won't use eminent domain if we don't have to. It was kind of like the way they kicked it off, was like using that term.
Yeah.
And that just riled everybody up right from the get-go.
Pretty well.
So but the Farm Bureau's against it, the county commissioners against it, the residents have kind of made their thoughts known at an informational meeting they held in Westminster, I guess 2 months ago, that just like packed the senior center there. So a lot of publicity locally.
Okay.
They had 700 or 800 people go to the Ag Center for a public meeting there. About 400 or 500 people went to Hereford, because it also goes across northern Baltimore County. So about 400 or 500 people were at a meeting at Hereford High School a couple of weeks ago. If you drive out across Mount Carmel Road going over into northern Baltimore County, every single house has a sign.
You can take my newspaper with you tonight.
Okay.
So it's a very contentious thing.
Yeah, we just noticed the sign, that just quite a few signs up just around town as well, so. I was hoping it wasn't anything we had to deal with directly, so.
It's not going to go through town directly, maybe within about half mile or so. But
Oh, I don't know if it'd be that close.
I think one of the northern routes cuts across like around Mayberry Road.
Yeah.
See, they have right-of-ways now, but they're not gonna use anything to make a new one.
Yeah.
And that's a problem too.
Right. Okay. All right, well, good. Well, I think we're set with the surveys then, so
I think-
it has
Good.
been, yep.
Good.
Yeah, that was, just the comments that I had. I'm glad I looked at it. I'm glad it was available online for me to look at, because that did, bring up those couple of points, so.
Yep, good. That's very helpful, so appreciate that. The other thing that we wanted to go over tonight was that first section of what was distributed at last month's meeting. We had the draft plan, kind of the content, the format set up, and gave you an idea of the graphic representation that would be that we're trying to achieve. And we just want to kind of go through that first section of the plan and review that content with you, see if there's any comments, concerns with that, and this just kind of sets the stage in terms of what the plan will look like and what we're trying to basically achieve as we go through it over the next few months. So I'm going to let Emily kind of lead the discussion on that.
Sure. Yeah, I guess we'll go through the way we did with the surveys, where we'll kind of just go page by page, and if there's anything that pops out to you or any comments that you have, just go ahead and let me know, and I'll take note of them. So the first page is the header of what is a comprehensive plan.
And what we're doing, and what you'll notice with the surveys too, and some of those boards that we put together, we kind of get this information out there. What is the plan? Why are we doing it? What we're trying to accomplish with it, and it's important that again, we talked about early on that typically the comprehensive plan gets completed and gets just put on a shelf, and that's the last time anybody looks at it until your time expires and you have to do it again. So we're trying to make it, number one, much more visually appealing, and kind of invite the reader to be interested in it. So that's what we're trying to achieve here, and just make it more of an inviting document to get people involved.
Well, the one we're working on right now, that will be, what will be the name of that? Will that be Comp Plan 2020, 2025 when it comes approved? Or is it just 10 years from this? to
So
two-
it'll be 2025. It'll be the
to the name-
Taneytown
it's
2025 comprehensive plan.
20 Comp Plan
Right.
2025.
Yep. Yeah. And we're not quite, I guess
We
we're
don't
kind of
really say
beyond
that
that.
anywhere in here.
Yeah.
Sorry?
That's not really said anywhere in this that I can find.
So Jim, it'd be Taneytown Community Comprehensive Plan 2025.
Yeah, and if you look at the footer on each page, it does say, on the even numbered pages, it has that on the footer. Yeah.
It's quite hard to see. After we finalize images and start moving things around, I'll make sure that none of those are being cut off, because I know some of them can get really lost in there.
Thank you.
I'd be happy to read it and provide comments, but I didn't do my homework if I had this.
Okay.
That's no problem.
I can tell you on page 16, I have a very difficult time trying to read that. Bottom of the page.
16.
Yes, that won't be. Yes, there's a couple places
Didn't know
in
you
here.
spoke Latin.
Well, very fluently, clearly. Yeah, there's a couple places where just to fill it out, especially in where we talk about the previous goals. So that will definitely not be in there.
That's Woodsboro, right?
You guys any other questions?
I guess like on the 12 visions with the color that's used for the different, I don't know, I'm an old man. Some of those are kind of, even though they're colored, they're difficult to read, like the economic
Hello.
development and activity. So I don't know if those colors are the right choices, maybe, so.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I can say they definitely look much different printed versus on screen, but printed it is very hard for to read. Yeah.
So the intent here of using the different colors, though, is to carry those colors then through the plan. So each section that deals with that is color coded. Yeah.
So this is just format now, we're not, no content, we're not.
Right, that's correct. Yeah.
Right, for the most part. I think the first two pages at least, yeah, definitely are a little bit more finalized.
You don't start speaking Latin until the middle of page 10.
Okay. Actually, I never had Latin, so.
Either that or Klingon, I'm not sure which.
Is this a picture of our house in our area?
It is, it's one of the farms, oh gosh, I can't recall the name off the top of my head.
Is that Noah's farm out here?
Let's see, this is Woodsboro here. That's Kramer's lumberyard up in Woodsboro.
There's another page.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so all these pictures have been sourced from different, sometimes Facebook pages, local Facebook pages, or, so that's going to be, the intent here is to use all those local pictures and things that community members have taken, so they can take some ownership in the document as well.
I do plan on, when I'm down here on Saturday, hopefully it's not raining. I would like to get some more photos, especially of the event, of people interacting with us and kind of learning about the plan. So let's cross our fingers that it doesn't rain too much.
A interesting little brainstorm idea that just came up in my head. Perhaps a way to call attention to the whole comprehensive plan thing is to perhaps have a photo contest. Have people submit photographs that they think, really emulate what they think is Taneytown. and have them send them in.
I think that's a good idea.
That's a great idea, yeah.
Is that something that the Parks and Rec
Well, the
Committee
Parks and Rec do it
does?
in the parks.
Okay.
So, I mean,
this
that's
would
what,
be
that's
all
what
of
keyed the
Taneytown.
ideal for me. But this would be not just the parks, but overall, throughout the entire city.
Yep.
You know, ask people to send in pictures that they think are emblematic of the city of Taneytown. I think we'll probably get a few less than desirable responses in the middle of, somebody's gonna send a picture of an outhouse, you know it's gonna happen. But I think, you know, you'll be able to get out of that probably a lot of useful photographs.
Put that on the last page.
Yeah, and then we can, you know, the winning photo can have a prominent spot in the plan along with a photo credit for that, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Everyone? Anything else, Emily? You want to move on?
Sorry?
You think, want to continue on?
Okay, sure.
Like, I mean, so that, I mean, the layout's okay. Will there be like a table of contents or
Yes,
an index?
there will,
or-
yeah, there will be before this. I just didn't include it because it's, you know, pretty temporary right now. There's acknowledgements page, a table of contents, and a nice looking cover. And right after this would be the goals. So that'll lead right into goals.
And I know it's just, right now, it's just stuff that's stuck in here, but I just, brevity is, you know, you get that much white space with just text in
Sure.
it.
More
sure.
calls to-
Yes,
yeah,
we can add a
absolutely.
lot more, we can remove text where it's unnecessary and add some photos to
Yeah.
break it up a bit more.
Yeah, I
So it's not just
you
a
know,
wall.
A
Yeah.
lot of white space and text.
Sure.
Again, I mean, I know you're not really saying anything in there, so it's not, I'm not being
Yeah.
critical, but just
And that
being
particular.
mindful of that.
Sure, sure. That particularly will be one of the last sections that will be finalized, since it's looking at previous goals in relation to the new goals that will be created, so.
And the intent is to work in graphics whenever we can, to just break things up and say things with pictures and graphs versus words sometimes is a lot more impactful, so.
Anyone else? Anyone have anything?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's,
And the last thing, I guess, would be, at least that I have on my list, is looking at some more of the key person interviews. I know Daryl had sent a list of people and companies and things that would be good to reach out to. So I just wanted to make sure that this was a finalized list.
It is. It's the one that Jim shared with the, from the previous meeting. So it's the verbatim. Yeah. And, yeah, it's reflected in the minutes, Jim's list.
Is in the minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, what is the, on the key person interviews? What is the procedure? What is the best procedure?
So, and how many people did we end up with? What's the?
It's around 15.
Okay, yeah. So, procedure-wise, I guess it might be helpful if somebody from the city first kind of reached out to those individuals to advise them that you're going to be getting a call from
Yeah.
from us and to so, and, you know, we'll do it whatever's most convenient for them, whether it's a Zoom call or just over the phone, however they would like to do that. And, you know, we'll provide them with, you know, ask them for some convenient times and dates when they'd be available to do that.
So
So it
it's
would
not
be-
going to be, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So it would be best if you guys think it'd be a better control of the questions and the answers and the information gathered if you all did that?
Yeah, I think there's a certain level of consistency if the same person or the same couple people are doing the interviews and they're asking the same questions, trying to elicit the same, the same information. Certainly, anybody from the city could participate in that, in the Zoom calls as well, and be part of that. That's not a problem at all, if that's what we'd want to do.
Now, when you're asking the questions, like a person from VAPCO, are they representing the company, or are you asking them to give their personal opinion?
Well, I think we're going to get maybe both
Okay.
with that.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of important, where they're
Yeah.
coming from.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And, I don't know who that, is that, I don't know if it's the GM there or who the person is from Vapco, but yeah, you're going to get a mix of both their personal opinion as well as probably, a certain company line with those responses.
So you're not intending to do the interviews in person, though?
Well, in person, in terms of sitting down like this,
Yeah.
no, that's just logistically, it makes it a little tough to do that.
It's only 15 people.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, if you think that would be more effective, we could certainly maybe look to try and do that, but it's tough to schedule that many people.
Right, I think the issue would be scheduling.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I think you get better, you get more honest responses when you're face-to-face with someone.
I
doubt.
I envision
Yeah.
a cup of coffee and a slice of pie, and you're
Yeah,
sitting down
no,
there.
that sounds good, yeah. I just don't know, I just don't know how that might work with that many, and,
Well, so for instance, Craig, if you don't mind.
yeah, go ahead.
When I'm reading the key interview information, what you guys probably know better what the information is going to be of value pulled out of what they're saying.
Right.
So because you've seen these forms and done these before, you may not guide, but try to herd them into what you're trying to get out of the question.
Right.
So that's just my thoughts on the interviews.
Yeah, because the questions themselves are just kind of a guide, right, just kind of to start the discussion. And then you just kind of go with how the route the discussion's going might veer off in different ways. Whether it's, a discussion with a person with the fire department, for example, would be different than somebody with the Parks and Rec, with an athletic committee type discussion. So, right, it's really depending on what that person's background is, what their interests are.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if the interviews are being conducted on a Zoom, are we going to be recording them?
We certainly can. We have that ability to do that, sure.
And I think it might be effective, but obviously you have to let people know they're being
Right,
recorded.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But to me, that's a benefit of doing it that way, is you can
that's a really good
get a
point,
recorded
because,
answer.
yeah.
Because that way, if there's a question about what was said or what was asked, we can always go back and review the tape.
Right. And even now, with AI, with artificial intelligence, so the Zoom software that we have, it actually will do a summary. It'll give you a written summary of the discussion. So, yeah.
I don't know, I think you get more truthful answer if it was not recorded.
You might, and I think the fact that it's recorded may change how people answer questions.
That's what that's what
I
I'm
mean,
thinking.
there always is that, and just the fact of doing it over, as a Zoom call over the computer, will change people's attitude and may change the level of their discussion.
Yeah, I'm in favor of in person. We're supposed to be the old one says we got this small town atmosphere, but we're still gonna call people and do interviews, and we only got 15 to do, so.
I agree with you, Dan.
I'm opposed to
I think-
online interviews.
I think the interaction in
I mean, if we
Yes.
had 150, that would be different.
Okay.
We don't think, I can see in some cases, but I can see in other ways, if you do a Zoom, basically, it's in person.
I disagree.
Face or not.
If we were calling people in York, I can see the Zoom, so you don't have to commute. We're all in Taneytown.
Well, we are.
We
Are
are.
we gonna interview people outside of Taneytown?
No, but arrow. So all I'm saying is,
That's my opinion.
yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
So, and they're all good points, all valid.
Yeah,
points.
absolutely, right, yeah.
So,
Yep.
but if you guys are agreeable to that, then, in person, I think that's what the majority is asking for. I just don't want to, I don't want to say overcomplicate things, but we, like last month, we agreed to the surveys as written, basically. And now we're not there, until.
I don't think we didn't change it, did we?
We didn't change.
Okay, all right, so that one line you didn't change, the drop down 3?
I mean, that's more of a
It's more
format
of a
change.
formatting
Okay,
thing,
okay,
yeah.
well,
That
Yeah.
wasn't, that
Yeah.
wasn't changing what was in the
Yeah.
Beautiful.
questions or whatever. I was talking about changing the format of how they answer, whether it's a radio button or the drop down, or making the drop down a little bit more visually clear that there's a drop down there.
Okay, I didn't see the online.
Yeah,
I tried on my phone, was like, nah.
Again, we're planning on going to their place of business, or we're asking them to come to City Hall and meet with you?
I would think that would be negotiable between.
Yeah, I would think that would depend on the individuals. Some people would rather, may rather come here. Some people may rather do it in their office.
They might wanna meet you at Country Kitchen.
Or they might want to meet at the country kitchen for a cup of coffee and a slice of pie.
That's what I vote for.
Apple?
Stay open for,
Just a suggestion on that, maybe we can come up with a couple different dates that you guys could be in town.
Yeah.
See if,
Yes.
if that works
Yeah.
for a number of
Right,
the
yeah.
key interviewees. And then for anyone maybe that those dates don't work for, then we default to the virtual,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, the
interview
Zoom.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could pick,
Yep.
3 or 4 days where you could be here for a few hours, and see who we could schedule in those times, and then maybe get the rest, and maybe end up with a mix, you might do some by Zoom, because you can't work it out, you might have to do, and try to do, I would like to try to do as many as we could in person.
Yep.
But I think we need to offer a little flexibility. for
Yes,
folks, too.
absolutely. If we want to we don't want to be running people off of answering the question because they don't feel like coming in.
There may be people who would rather just sit at their desk,
Right.
take half an hour at their desk on the screen
Right.
and, do it that way, so they don't take as big a chunk out of their day.
Right. So I can see like Bill Jones might want to do it by Zoom. Leonard Wance might want to be sitting there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we may have to play that by the people.
Fair enough.
Those are all good suggestions.
That was an accomplishment right there.
Who says we can't get anything done around here?
So we'll work with Daryl and Jim in terms of scheduling
Yeah,
those
yep,
those
release the
individuals
list.
and work out the logistics, so, okay, great.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
That's-
sure.
I know it's a lot of
Yeah,
work.
no, that's fine. I don't mind if it gets me out of the office on a nice day, so that's fine.
Just don't schedule it for the next week because there
Yeah.
doesn't look like there's gonna be any nice days for the next week.
Any more discussion on the key people?
Yeah, I think we're right.
I think that's it. Is there anything else?
Goodness. Nope, went over the key people, Harvest Fest. Ready to go?
So that's all we have for tonight, unless there's anything
So
else.
are you guys
Oh,
coming, you guys are gonna be here for Harvest Fest? Is that what I
Yeah.
understood you to say, the
Yep.
two of you will be
Talk
here?
a little bit, okay, can we talk?
Oh, you
a
will,
little-
okay.
Let's go a little bit more into detail about this. So, we providing the setup for you, or what's happening here? I mean,
Nope, we have a table, we have a tent. I've already booked a spot with Lorena for the festival. We're going to have the postcards and be answering people's questions about what a comprehensive plan is, what the survey is, what we're asking them to do. We're also going to have a secondary poster board that people can fill out some thoughts on sticky notes and stick it on. I'm thinking that probably something like, what do you love about Taneytown, and where do you think it could improve? Something really simple.
Yeah, I
And then
like that.
people can just stick up their thoughts, and we can take those back and analyze those as well, and include those kind of tangentially with our survey results as those start to come in as well. I think we have everything we need though set up already for it, so.
And
we'll
what's the time range when this is going to be? For
It's ele-
Saturday?
11 to 3.
11 to 3,
The 3?
rain or shine.
Yep.
So,
Hey, we've got a tent.
So I would volunteer to be sitting right there, but we have a wedding over at the B&B on Saturday, so I'm out.
Yeah, certainly, if anybody does
calls,
want to
duty
come by
calls.
and be part of that, we're certainly welcome to do that. We'll bring an extra chair.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're
so-
right next to the food trucks, so
Oh,
it's a good spot.
there you go, there you go.
Yeah.
What do you think of like maybe having a zoning map or something as a backdrop? Just, some people can, oh, look, I live there and this is in the, and I didn't know that was here and.
Yeah, we can do that, yeah.
So when we get the surveys, what will the report look like? Are we all going to get copies of the 200 surveys that we get back? Or
Yeah,
No,
what's that gonna look like?
it's pretty flexible. There's a lot of different ways using the website, the SurveyMonkey website, that we can display the information. We can even pick how we're comparing it with other questions or other data. I think we had discussed before, if we wanted to look at data of somebody who was over 65, of all the people who have answered who are over 65, we can filter out all of the other answers and just look at their data. We can cross-match that with people who live in a certain part of Taneytown if we want to. So it's really flexible.
Question,
Yep.
yeah.
Right. It's really, really flexible in terms of how we want to look at the data. So I think we'll probably make just kind of a base report, and then if we want to delve further down into things, we can really look at that.
I think the one thing we might want is like where there are write-in comments, is
Mhm.
maybe for us all to get copies of all the write-in
Yeah,
comments.
yeah. Yeah, but certainly, just the raw data, all that would be available and
And like I said,
provided
it's nice to,
to the group.
how many of the people over 60 that live downtown said this?
Right.
So there will be hard copies? and
Yeah.
So all the hard copies, you're going to enter them into the
Yes.
SurveyMonkey? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they'll be included in that data set.
So, and just keep your fingers crossed that we get a decent response rate. That's all we're, because a lot of time is spent on this, right? We're spending a lot of time talking about it and putting these things together, and a lot of thought goes into it. So we just really got to hope
Right,
that we
We
get
want to
people
attract as much attention to it
Yeah,
as we can.
yeah, yeah.
So Craig and Emily, when would you guys like to, you want to send me some dates?
Yeah, we'll start with that. Yeah, we'll start.
Going out a week or?
Yeah, probably maybe towards the end of,
Tell you what, how about?
the end of October. Yeah,
Email me.
yeah, okay, yeah,
And we're trying to set things up.
yeah, that'd be good.
Come up here for half a day, whole day, how long do you think a survey takes?
I think, so,
Any of you rather?
I mean, ideally, if we could knock as many out in one day as possible, I think that would be great. It's only a long day for us, not for the people being surveyed, so I think that would, I think that would work out the best. Yeah.
I do have one more question, just about if there will be maybe just a pop-up on the front page of the website or something with that we could put the QR code for the survey on the Taneytown website.
Dan, are you listening?
We'll figure out a way to make it
Okay.
pretty prominent.
Great.
Yeah, on that and also on the front of the Taneytown Connect, when that opens up, if there's
Yeah.
a way we can banner that also.
Okay, great.
Dan?
So how can I get a couple dozen copies of the survey? I filled mine out, so I can't make copies.
I have some.
Fresh
yeah.
one.
Ah, Dan.
The paper survey?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll make a copy.
I have a couple extra copies.
okay.
So I have a couple extra copies here, and I can always, I can send you a file.
You fill them all out, won't
Seriously,
you?
up to a couple dozen. I'll hand them out.
Latest ones, oh, right, they're the ones we
Yep.
approved?
Yes, these are, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
People to fill them out.
Yeah.
No, we make sure we look for, if we see the same handwriting on surveys, we toss them out.
Different color ink paintings, and different things, you know.
Yeah.
So, and just funnel them to me and I'll get them to you. Is
Yep.
that what we're gonna do?
Yeah.
Orange and red ink.
Remember that, okay.
So how will that work? When we go out, if we get a bunch of these copies and put them out there to people that we know or whoever and talk about it, we give it to them, do we wait? Do we wait for it? Or do they just let them know to bring it into city office and drop it off? Is that what we're doing?
Or they can hand it back to you later, they come bring it
Yeah.
back, bring it back by later?
I'm
or-
expecting them to hand it back to me later, so I'm gonna hand it to them, and I'm gonna say, quit complaining to me if you don't fill this out. I'm gonna expect them to give it back to me.
Yeah, because I see this being a 10-minute process at least. And that's if you're prepared to do it.
Yep.
And you're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, it took me a good 10 minutes, and I was filling it out online, and I was ready for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, so you don't want
Okay.
someone just, checking boxes. And I saw that with a survey done with the community surveys. Some people just, they were in a hurry.
Pencil whipping, yeah.
You're standing up, so.
Okay.
Okay.
But the postcards, I think, will be incredibly
Yeah.
valuable.
So you'll have a stack of surveys and a stack of postcards,
Yep.
stack of flyers. You can ask business people, you can even go around the event and.
And just hand them out, hand out the
Sure.
postcards, yeah.
Well, or just put flyers on, especially, some of the vendors are not local, but some are. And may have a local storefront or something that they can, put something up in, so.
All right, let's move on to the next one then. The draft plans, talk about that.
We just did, didn't we?
We did that.
Yeah, we went out of order.
When we were talking about section 1, the introduction,
Yeah, that's this.
is what we just
It's this one.
did that first then. Okay, so our next step then, other than the surveys.
Yep, so next step would be, so we're going to have a 2-month period where we're waiting for the survey information to come in. So during that time, we're going to work on some of those, collecting all that background, the population, demographic data, land use, housing, all those elements of the plan that are kind of the data that builds what the plan looks like. So that's what we'll be working on over the next 2 months. We'll talk about whether we have a meeting next month or whether we take that time off to kind of compile that data. We'll see how far we get with that information because we want to make sure we want to give it to you kind of in a block, all that at the same time. So,
Well, if we hold off 2 months, then that's going to interfere with Christmas.
Well, I wouldn't maybe hold off 2 months. We should get back together in November.
right.
Well, I have them, November 19th
Okay.
is already scheduled.
Okay.
And just FYI, the trunk or treat down at the park is a pretty well-attended event. There's a lot of families, and very, very local. Almost, where the Harvest Fest might draw people from the area, the trunk or treat is hyper-local. So, that might be another good time to bring out a table or just, we can do
postcards.
that.
Fire company pit beef.
Yeah.
So,
Pit beef, second Saturday, October.
Yep.
so also maybe we'll take some of these postcards, okay? Then if you say, yeah, I'll fill that out, well, then just keep the card, scan that, do the QR scan, keep the access,
Right.
keep the card.
Right, you can handing out the postcards do as well for getting
Yeah.
people, that's probably as effective for getting people to use the QR code in the phone as anything.
Yeah, that way it goes right, it saves the whole,
A lot of my friends don't have a computer, and some of them don't have a cell phone, so.
you're saying
just
a
telling you.
lot of
So
people.
I'm not the only one?
Can we get a couple of those when we're out there talking, if they want to do that one instead of doing the
Can
hard
we each
copy?
have 3 or 4 of those
Yeah,
tonight?
just,
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you guys
that
have
whole
the full
stack.
stack, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll have more on Saturday that I can drop off to any extras, and we can always get more made.
I do have one other request. So I think if we all would reread the 2010 version, it would probably be helpful for us
Yeah,
before
actually,
we
that's a
get
great
started.
idea, too.
That's probably a good
yeah.
homework assignment
So-
for a lot of us.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
So I'm kind of old-fashioned. I've looked at it online, but I don't know how many pages it is. Is there any way we can get a hard copy?
30,
Oh, wow. Is there any way I can get a hard copy? Do you have any in your office somewhere? Or?
I sent it to you electronically, or
What's that?
I sent it to you electronically, or? We
Yeah,
don't have copies.
I mean, you can if you want. If that's my only option, that's fine. I mean, I've looked at it and I've printed out pages and stuff like that online, but I mean,
It's quite a while.
it's just, I'm old-fashioned.
I got you. Yeah, I need it in front of me. Yeah.
That's fine. If online's the option, that's fine.
Well, mine's
Let me
pretty
see
well
if I can
marked up, or I'll give you mine to copy.
Oh, yeah, you could print out sections, you could kind of look through and print out sections as you need to,
That's what I've been doing,
yeah,
or I have done. Yeah.
so. Okay. Can I just make a statement about the inordinate number of left-handers in the room? I was noticing you, and I knew Daryl and Jim and me, and I don't know if anybody else going down the line this way, but
That's right, I noticed that when we met the first time, there were, a bunch of us in there.
Craig's hardcore. He's got
Yeah,
that.
I got the.
oh, yeah, that's me too. I'm the upside-down left-hander. That's,
You know the feeling, you can't write in pencil, so here.
Just don't
Yeah,
give me a
right.
pair, keep the scissors away from me, all right?
Yeah. damn scissors off right into people. So, anyway. No.
So any other discussion? Bob, you have anything you want to add?
Microphone, Paul,
Let's hear it,
please.
let's hear it.
I apologize. I was going to be quiet tonight,
We don't want you to be quiet.
We want to hear
Yeah,
it.
that's why you're here.
And
but
you
I
have a-
couldn't help but, so I started to frame a few questions and thoughts to just share and get some feedback as well for my own benefit and, that of the community. Paul Cluth, again, resident and business owner in Taneytown. My first question is, how does the plan attempt to address any interests or ideals from the respondents for how rundown looking or vacant properties could be given attention by the city, either through code enforcement or upgrade or pressure to, change the face of our downtown, especially because we do have a few of those properties. And I will comment that it's interesting that Frederick, which has gone through a major transformation of their downtown over the years, had this very dilemma, but a much greater scope of rundown properties and owners who wouldn't do anything, and they finally had to go through all kinds of motions to get where they're at today. So, I think a lot of folks would like to see more downtown properties be upgraded by their owners or be forced to do something in that regard. So how would the plan kind of test that interest, or can it do that? Can it do it? Can it do that? That's the question, I guess. Can we encourage major employers to encourage their employees who live in Taneytown to do the survey? Plant that seed with the employers to say, hey, we have these surveys, please participate. That's a thought. And does the city really care about responses from residents within maybe a 5-mile radius of the city that might cover residents who tend to do a lot of their shopping and their business in Taneytown? And I'm giving examples, Uniontown, maybe the Pleasant Valley area, Keysville, Bruceville, Keymar are key ones, key localities. Do we care about what they think and what they think might be beneficial for the master plan? So I throw that out for what it's worth. I agree with Mr. Tillman, Councilman Tillman, on his comment about Carol Vista they kind of do stay to themselves. But I will say that I have residents of Carol Vista come to Ambassadors. I know they go to Deja Vu Jewels, and I know they go to Stonehouse Cafe for baked goods. I know they do that. I know that they're hungry for the downtown to revitalize. I mean, they want to see more happening. They've seen things happen in the last year or two, and they get kind of excited about it. Those that do. So I just wanted to share that thought. As far as distributing the survey, personally, I want to see as many respondents as you possibly can get. Can we get to that 25% ideal response rate? This morning, I was in a Taneytown Chamber board meeting, and I did let everybody know that the surveys are coming. I also did the same thing with the History Museum. They had their monthly meeting with their members on Monday night, and everybody seems to be interested in this survey.
Good.
So the potential's there. I would like to give out surveys to customers that come into my store, and I will certainly be happy to visit businesses that I'm familiar with to hand out cards and survey, and to help the cause. And I think there's other people that would also be willing to do that. So, more the merrier responses. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's really all that that's all I really wanted to say. So for what it was worth,
All right, thank
might
you.
not be much.
Thank you.
Our next meeting, can you bring a friend?
Yeah, we're down 100%. I think there were 2 people at the first meeting, now we're
Yeah.
down to 1, so it's,
So we lost
yeah.
All right.
It's funny, because there was the meeting that was over at the church the other week, and all those people say, oh, yeah, they seem to be interested.
Yeah.
So not much of a turnout?
Well, there were about 17 people, I think, there.
That's pretty
It
big.
was.
So that's not bad for
Big.
that kind of a group. But, again, I made the pitch, you want your voice to be heard, you want to be part of the process, come here and show up at the meeting and have your voice heard. So, and I say that to everybody out there listening.
Have there been a lot of viewers on the broadcast?
Dan, that's a question we can ask you, Dan, if you're listening over there. Have people been watching this evening for a good question?
We might be able to get that at the close of the meeting.
We've had a maximum of 5 concurrent viewers and 12 unique views. So no, this is not one of our most watched live streams.
Well, I mean, at least somebody is paying
Right.
attention, so that's a positive first step.
So do we have
One's
anything?
my wife, though, so I think I might be,
Is there anything else we need to?
So I just want to memorialize the next meeting date is going to be November.
19th.
November?
November 19th.
So we're not going to meet in October,
Nope.
but we are going to try to get out at the trunk or treat event with the
Wherever we
table.
can.
And wherever we can. And
Dan was
like you
talking
say,
about the
they
fire
have the
company.
cards.
Yep.
Are you now you were talking about posters, like 12 by 18 kind of posters, or what?
So the smaller size is just an 8.5 by 11, meant so people could print them off easily wherever, if it's a small business and they want to print them. If you wanted to print a bunch here to hand out to people to use, but we certainly can do larger sizes. And we
Okay,
do have.
I didn't know if you had any plans to print anything
Sure,
larger, you just
not-
want us to.
Right. Not necessarily on hand, but if you would like, we can definitely print some.
I noticed that, obviously these are still in draft form because they just have blank squares where the
Right.
QR code goes. So just, email the PDFs out to us and we can work from there.
Okay. Anyone else have anything? If not, looking for an adjournment.
That we adjourn.
Second by Bill. Any Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Carried.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Hey,
everyone.
Craig, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
appreciate
it's
it.
good to see everybody again.
Yep, thank you.
Simple and short meetings, but